Thanks, Goose. Lara Croft, the woman, the legend, and sometimes controversial sex symbol, has been rebooted with Crystal Dynamics' fresh take on the franchise.
I had high hopes for this game, Barjo. You know, when those first few concept sketches started to come through of this more relatable adventurer, I really started to feel like this could be the butt-kicking female adventurer that we've all been waiting for. What I didn't anticipate, however, is that what we'd end up with is what was, quite frankly, one of the most exciting gaming experiences I've ever had.
In our darkest moments, we find something that keeps us going.
From the game's exciting intro to its satisfying conclusion, this really is a roller coaster ride of non-stop action. While searching for information on an ancient Japanese deity, Lara and her crew are shipwrecked on a mysterious island. From here, she is thrown from one terrifying scenario into another as she's captured by the island's sinister inhabitants and separated from her friends.
A lot of this early gameplay is very reminiscent of Uncharted. In fact, there's a burning building section later on in the game which is almost identical to the one from Uncharted 3. Its use of quick-time actions, ledge hangs, the way Lara constantly thinks aloud.
That's what I heard in Japanese before the plane crashed.
It all feels very familiar. However, Tomb Raider has completely finessed and evolved this style of adventuring, making it feel quite new.
And it guides you so beautifully through each level too. The subtle movement animations as Lara passes around and under obstacles with a torch, it really captures that sense of wonder and exploration. And terror, because whatever is going on here is seriously messed up, and you have a sense of foreboding at every turn. Everything about this island is dangerous, cold, and painful, and the few moments where Lara gets to take a breath don't last very long at all. And you genuinely fear for her, because this is not the Lara we know, this is the Lara before it all, before she was a Tomb Raider.
I hate tombs.
More than that, though, her mocap actor Camilla Luddington portrays this younger, more naive version of Lara just wonderfully, making every cry of pain and scream of fear just so affecting. Early in the game, her situation seems hopeless, and that sense of despair is palpable.
There was this crazy man Roth and a dead body.
Oh, God.
Please come and get me.
She comes across as vulnerable and human, but not weak, which I think is bang on target.
And it's great that her evolution as a hero is dealt with in such a serious and gritty way too. It's such a modern and cinematic game. The lengths the developer goes to here to draw an emotional response out of you is just fantastic. But it's never cheap.
Yeah, I mean, the first time Lara has to kill a deer, she feels genuine remorse, and she takes a moment to let the weight of that death land. This means that the first time she has to kill a human being, a seriously intense moment. She really freaks out, and in this age of run-and-gun action, it's refreshing to see those emotions explored.
Oh, God!
And it's carried over so well to the combat too. She's not a wisecracking action hero, she doesn't know kung fu, she fights dirty because she needs to. She starts out with nothing but a makeshift bow pulled from a corpse, and has to try and pick up whatever skill she can as she goes. When forced into a close quarters fight, you won't see her executing any fancy combat rolls or dodges. She panic scrambles out of the way, and she uses resourceful techniques in fighting too, such as grabbing dirt and throwing it in an enemy's face to stun them.
Yeah, it's smart and well thought out, isn't it? You do still, of course, go picking up a great arsenal of guns with an endless parade of upgrades and add-ons. Points were scarce, Barjo, and I could never decide where to put them because there were so many cool upgrades and skills to learn. Often, I know there are more sensible choices to make, but if there is any kind of flamey, incendiary, exploding add-on, I will always choose that first, and in this case, with spectacular results. And the best part is that half of these kick-ass mods can be made to your bow. In spite of all your guns, it's probably your greatest asset. At one point, she straps a lighter to it, creating flaming arrows. She's MacGyver.
The bow is amazing, and it feels just right. And it's so nice to have a game where you don't have to use the guns if you don't want to. The bow is almost always a good option. And there are some brilliant stealth sections too, where pulling off crafty, silent headshots will make Lara's exploration of the island's many caverns and temples all the more efficient. And of course, it wouldn't be a Tomb Raider game without tombs. And with the use of Lara's survival instincts, you can seek out hidden treasure, artifacts, and clues to help you uncover the mystery of the island.
Or was there some kind of battle here?
Now, this is another thing that we've seen before. In fact, about halfway through this game, I realized that there are a lot of mechanics here that are similar to Assassin's Creed. A bunch of games use this kind of eagle vision technique, which is a great way to seek out collectibles and XP. But in fact, the whole approach to the world map, its relics, the tombs, the hunting, the jumping puzzles, and at times parkour-like movement system. I mean, there's a feeling of Tomb Raider having pulled some of the greatest elements from other games and then adjusted it to suit its style of gameplay, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I definitely got an AC Revelations vibe with all those zip lines around the place. Only here you get to construct zip lines yourself. And it's good you play a part shaping the world that you're navigating yourself through. Using that axe to scale walls and combining these climbing sections with thrilling action sequences that will see you going from scaling snowy cliffs to surfing river rapids, ziplining between tall ships. The game yanks you through this chaos at such a breakneck pace.
Each and every one of those heart-pumping action sequences was just stunning, Barjo. You know, I was yelling at my TV, just willing Lara to cling to life, literally at every turn. And you're accountable because you're involved in just about every stage of the drama with some kind of quick-time action, but it's never tedious.
Yeah, the quick-time events are really exciting. They're implemented so well, and it's helped with such a wonderful user interface and really nice menus. Don't talk about menus a lot, but these are some nice menus.
Plus, those action sequences don't feel like they've been shoved in there just to pad out the game either. There is this seemingly perfect balance between all the blockbuster action and the sections where you're just left to your own devices to take out goons and climb through and explore the environment with all its hidden chambers.
I will say though that some of the death animations are really intense, and just a warning, some of the footage we're about to show you is pretty gruesome. There's one in particular where she gets impaled right through the neck and she's gasping and gurgling and screaming. It's a very intense moment.
Yeah, and if you keep messing that up, then you have to watch it like 7 or 8 times as well. I had a similar experience later on where she met her untimely death on a tree branch. It certainly doesn't pull any punches. Lara cannot catch a break in this game. She gets pretty banged up. It's as if it's out to make you feel uncomfortable. You know, when you think of Nathan Drake, you think of this, action hero who can take on anything. But here, they've stripped Lara's character back to make her that little bit more fragile and then thrown her into the most painful, agonizing, and cringeworthy scenarios that you could imagine. It can be quite confronting, and some people might not love that.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it was the right move because it adds so much weight and seriousness to her situation, and you find yourself just rooting for her and hoping that she will succeed because of that. Tomb Raider has always been known for its brain-freezing puzzle tombs, and I felt like this time they went a bit easy on us and some of that challenge was taken away. So that did make me a bit sad, but having said that, I did rage quit a particular Tomb Raider game because I couldn't find some bloody cog somewhere. I will never know where that cog is, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, here I felt like it was more about the puzzles being relatively straightforward to figure out, but a little bit more difficult to execute, as some required some precise timing. Personally, I think it would have messed with that pace if they'd thrown in a bunch of frustratingly difficult puzzles in the midst of all this adventuring. You still get that sense of accomplishment, but it's more like get in there, figure out the puzzle, get the relic, and just keep moving.
And you could say that it's a similar snappy approach to the combat too, which is just excellent. You're never bogged down in one area for too long, dealing with hordes of snipers. The controls are so fluid. Together with the subtle camera angles and movements, you feel like you have this organic connection to Lara through the controller. And the auto cover system is so intuitive. In fact, there's no area of this game at all, or part to it, that feels like it drags.
No, and yet there's a decent meaty length to the campaign. The upgrades to your guns, gear, and gadgets are drip-fed to you at just the right pace, making your combat feel like it's constantly evolving, and deciding whether to approach a situation with stealth or explosions is entirely up to you.
And the story is exciting, isn't it? There's this real motivating factor to uncovering this mystery of the island, which is just what you want in an archaeological game like this.
This discovery is the missing piece of the puzzle.
There's that constant question as to whether what is happening on this island has a scientific explanation behind it, or if it's something supernatural.
We can take the boat out at high tide.
No, we can't.
Don't start that bullshit again, Lara.
And that's always been a theme in Tomb Raider games, so it's great to see that continued.
Your crew are a slightly cliched group of characters, but their relationships with Lara are well developed.
You can do it, Laura. After all, you're a Croft.
I don't think I'm that kind of Croft.
Sure you are.
I'm just so impressed this game ticks so many boxes.
Honestly, as soon as I saw those credits roll, I just wanted to go back and start this whole campaign again, which is such a great feeling. I didn't find and collect everything, but this is one of the few games where I might be inclined to go back and get all the things. And you actually can without restarting, because you can fast travel between camps all over the island, which is such a great inclusion for completists.
But if collecting isn't your thing, there's also the game's multiplayer. We only had access to a few rounds, and some maps are better than others, but it does seem quite promising with a few unlocks and some nice level design ideas, such as this zipline level, which mixes up the gameplay as you attempt to avoid gunfire and zip about.
The bow and arrow is really fun in Versus too. I think I'll go back to it come launch.
Better luck next time.
And yeah, I agree. It's really great to have all those environmental and climbing elements incorporated into the multiplayer as well.
Final thoughts, Hex?
Well, with this brilliant reimagining of Lara, she really is one of the most powerful, relatable, yet truly human, irrespective of gender, heroes that I've ever encountered in a game. This experience manages to be exciting, mature, gritty, and well-paced, all while showcasing a whole host of fluid mechanics and animations that just bring this gripping story to life almost flawlessly. I'm giving it 10 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it's masterfully done, isn't it? It's a masterpiece. You never see a loading screen, and the sections they use to cover it are executed in such a way that they seem to only serve to build tension. You're right there with Lara every step of the way. This sets an exciting precedent for future Tomb Raider games, and also for future games in this genre. This is how you reboot a game, and I'm giving it 10 out of 10 as well.
Now, you know we always have to do something special when we score a game 10 out of 10. I have a really good idea. Okay, so if you could just hold this maybe
Right.
like above your head.
Like
just,
that?
Yep.
Why would I?
Just don't. Just be really
Okay, like
still
that?
though. Just don't move.
I'm sorry, Hex, due to occupational health and safety regulations, you are no longer permitted to fire a bow and arrow within the confines of the ABC.
What?
But all is not lost. I have these ABC approved bow and arrows that you can use, so I'll just take that.
but just be careful, that's
you can have
expensive.
That one, there you go. That's my one. See, it's got a little tiger striped quiver thing.
But
Good. Wear the hat.
Lara didn't have to wear a hat.
Safety is the #1 priority. You ready, Goose?
I didn't get a hat. Is that
Ready. Fire!
Ah!
Double tens.
It's just a disappointment all round.
Double tens.